Be confident, be bold, be authentic, but don't forget to take action. This is Ordinary to Badass, where our stories empower women to step into the spotlight of their own lives and pursue what they're truly passionate about. It's time to step into the arena and become more than just extraordinary. It's time to become a badass with your host, Marie Sonneman.
Why is Tiffany Babb so badass? Keep listening to this episode and you'll find out why I think she's so badass. On episode 66 of the Ordinary to Badass podcast, I talked with Tiffany Babb. And Tiffany, in case you missed that episode, is a culture critic. And she reviews comic books and is starting to review movies and comedy and other stuff as well. I tell you, she's so stinking interesting. Prior to meeting Tiffany, I never knew what a culture critic was. Or I didn't know there was people that were like critics of comic books. And I know that probably sounds stupid that I didn't know that, but I didn't. She always blows me away. She's so stinking creative, and just the connections she makes between two different things just kind of blows my mind. So if you didn't listen to that episode, go back and listen to it again. Or if you're short on time and you just want a quick recap, go ahead and tune in here. This is the perfect time for it. And exactly why I created these episodes. They're going to be a short debrief episode, but they're also going to tell you why I think that guest is so badass. Okay, so Tiffany talked about a quote that was really impactful to her. It was when a professor said, only 2% of the people in this room will go on to have careers as artists. And it's not the most talented 2%. It's the people who keep knocking on doors after other people have quit. And that impacted her not to quit. And she kept going. Like when she feels like quitting, she keeps going. And I think that's so freaking cool. And she talked about getting the yips. Like sometimes when she's writing and she gets so nervous and just in her head and can't get anything done, that you just keep going. You be one of those 2% that's going to go out there and knock on doors or write the book or do whatever it is that you want to do that excites you and brings you joy, and just keep doing it. Even when you get the yips, even when you feel like you can't do it or you feel like you're not enough, you are the 2% that will make it through if you just keep pushing. You can't get there if you quit. The next thing I love was how Tiffany said, or how Tiffany has a 3-step process for taking on new projects. And you could darn near apply this in your life for anything. Step 1, ask yourself, is this taking me closer to where I want to be in 5 years? How important is that? If you want to have a life that you love, of doing things that you want to do, as opposed to just filling time, then maybe before making a new decision, you reflect, is this going to take me closer to where I want to be in 5 years? Asking yourself that one question, how could that change your life? I think it would be pretty powerful. Question number 2, what am I getting out of this? If you're going to sign up for something and do something, whether it be an ask that somebody else asked you, or if it's just something you're going to create, okay, what are you going to get out of it? Is it going to give you joy? Or is it you doing something because you feel obligated to do it? Or you just want to waste your time and not really think about what you want to do? So be sure to ask yourself, what am I getting out of this? Question number 3. Is this worth taking time away from other things that I'm doing right now? So if you have your main goals in your life, you have things that you want to get done, is this worth taking away from the other things? It's going to possibly divert your attention or take you further away from your goal. So knowing that, is it worth it? Guys, I love this three-step system. I think that it's a game changer. It really can help you to get clear on what it is that you want in your life. And the third thing that Tiffany recommended, or the third takeaway that I had when she said, do the little hard things. Don't worry. Like, if you do the little hard thing, put it into action, don't worry about it anymore. Or, she said, in other words, you can just break up the problem into smaller chunks and be as specific as possible about what the problem is. Too often, we sit there and get in our own heads, and there's a problem or a fear or some sort of resistance that we have, and we just make it so big in our heads. It becomes so big that it's hard to take action. But if you just take one tiny action, then it is so helpful in progressing to getting it over with. Half the times, the things that we imagine in our head, we make it out to be so much bigger, so much worse, and the longer you wait, the harder it is to get traction. So I know for me, when I was going through a divorce, it was hard as all get out for me. It was so stinking hard. I could not find a way to take action. Like, it just felt so overwhelming. And I'd gotten out of the habit of making decisions, so it felt impossible or like a big mountain to climb. And the longer I waited, the more overwhelming it got because I just wasn't making any decisions. And so one day I just said, okay, you're just going to do one thing a day. That's it. One little thing a day. I don't care how small it is, whether it's calling a bill or like the electric company, let's say, whether it's calling one of your utilities, like the electric company, and saying, hey, take my name off this bill. I'm no longer living there, yada, yada, yada. But so I wrote, like, for the next 7 days, these are the 7 people I'm going to have to call, or these are the 7 things that I have to do. And they were small things. They weren't even big things. But when you look at all of them as like a huge list of 50 things I have to do, it was overwhelming. But just doing one every day, one tiny little thing, making one phone call, then it felt like I could breathe again. It felt like I was making progress and like there could be an end in sight. So take Tiffany's advice and just break the problem down into smaller chunks. You would be amazed at the change that this can have in your life. Like, just taking on some of the things that you're fearful of, but in teeny tiny, like bite-sized chunks so that it's no longer overwhelming. So how can you implement that in your life? What is it that you've been putting off doing because it seemed too big? My challenge for you is to write out one thing that you can do today. If you feel strong enough or if you feel like you have some courage, then write out one little tiny thing you can do for the next 7 days. That's it. One little tiny thing. And if that seems overwhelming, like you want to do more than one day, but the 7 days seems overwhelming, okay, maybe something for every other day for the next week. Every Sunday, sit down and write out what you want to get accomplished, or what those things are that you're scared to do, and how much you're willing to do. But believe me, it makes such a huge difference to get those things that you're terrified of doing or that you've been putting off but you know have to be done. Just take them in bite-sized chunks. So I love it that Tiffany brought that up. Okay, now let me talk to you about Tiffany and why she's so dang badass. Tiffany loved comic books. She said that she loved it from being a kid or as a kid, but she never knew that it was a job. Right? That happens a lot. Like, you have an idea of something that would be fun, but you don't know that it's really possible for you. And so she kept just doing what she loved and doing what interested her, like little things that would pique her interest. She kept doing that. And it really was comics and art and being creative. But then that eventually led her to being a culture critic. And she has gotten rejections, and she's gotten so dang used to the rejections. Guys, rejections are freaking hard, especially when you first get them. It just gets you feeling like, oh, is this ever going to happen? Or if you're anything like I used to be, I just felt like I'm so stupid. I messed up. I can't believe it. I must have looked so dumb to them. But no, the gold is in persistence. Just keep pursuing. Just keep doing the things. The more that you persist and you just keep doing it, and if they reject you, consider it like a thank you. They rejected you, and so you weren't their people, or it wasn't the right time for that. But you will find your people. You just have to keep pushing. So whatever your thing is, I urge you not to give up, not to feel like you're stupid or you did something wrong just because somebody said no. Who cares? It's it's a little no. It doesn't matter if they said no. Again, they're not your people. It wasn't right for you. And when I talked to Tiffany in the podcast, or in the last podcast, I referenced Big Magic, and it was an Elizabeth Gilbert book, but I couldn't remember the title. It was Big Magic, where she submitted a book and got bad reviews. The company said, no, sorry, we're not interested. It's not quite for us. And then 3 years later, they resubmitted the book, and the owner loved it. Loved it. And she was like, I don't think the owner knew that I was the same person that pitched it 3 years ago. But ladies, sometimes we gotta plant the seed. We gotta show that we're out there. Maybe she didn't know that it was her that pitched it originally, but the idea was probably subconsciously in her head. So just because you don't get the yes the first time doesn't mean that you won't get the yes 3 years from now or 1 month from now. Sometimes it's just about timing. That's it. It's all about timing. So Tiffany Babb is so freaking badass because she had the persistence not to give up. She's doing what she loves as a cultural critic, and although she didn't know it was a thing when she was a kid, she just kept pursuing what she liked. And she stumbled upon, well, no, not even stumbled upon. Because if she stumbled upon, she wouldn't have been practicing or learning about it. But she just kept pursuing it and then found out, hey, this is a thing. Hey, this is a thing. This is something that I can do. So, you know what? One thing I often say, and this could be for your finances, this could be for learning how to snowboard, whatever it is, be persistent and consistent. And I think that's what makes you a badass, is you just keep going after it over and over again, consistently. You keep trying to do what you want to do, and eventually it's going to pan out, even if you just have to make little tweaks along the way. And Tiffany did that. And I think that's freaking awesome. So if you haven't listened to the last episode of the Ordinary to Badass podcast, definitely tune in. And I would love to hear from you on Instagram at Ordinary to Badass. DM me and tell me, what was your takeaway from this episode? What did you like most from this episode or the last with Tiffany Babb? Because that's what this was about, was talking about why Tiffany Babb is so badass. So DM me on Instagram and let me know what you thought. And what have you done? What have you done persistently and consistently over and over again for years that you love, that you are so proud of yourself for doing? I don't care if you haven't seen the results yet. The fact that you're putting in the work, you're in the arena, getting that dust all over your face, wiping off the sweat, but you're doing it. You're in the game, and I love that about you. So send it to me on Instagram at Ordinary to Badass, what it is that you have been persistent and consistent about. All right, chat with you on Monday.
Now that you've listened to this episode of Ordinary to Badass, we want to hear from you. Go to our website, ordinarytobadass.com/podcast, and submit your own experience on how you took your life from ordinary to badass, and get the chance to be on a future spotlight episode of the show. That's ordinarytobadass.com/podcast. While you're waiting for the next episode of the show, wipe off the sweat, dust off the dirt, and get back in the arena.